Are you ready to break free from a conventional life and achieve financial independence through your version of tiny living, but you're feeling stuck trying to figure out the money part? Does the pressure to conform to societal norms make it even more difficult to embrace an unconventional lifestyle? Well, you're in the right place. I'm Laura Lynch, host of the Less House, More Moola podcast, where every Thursday I'll bring you captivating interviews with individuals who have successfully made the transition to tiny living. They defied expectations and are thriving in their unique lives. We'll also dive deep into industry resources to address common financial concerns on your tiny journey. Together, we'll explore the emotional and practical aspects of pursuing an alternative lifestyle. I will describe a clear framework for project planning and cash flow management. Our goal is to intentionally build financial security and make a positive impact through our alternative American dream. So gear up for an exciting and empowering journey to create a life that truly resonates with you. Let's dive into today's episode and take the first steps towards financial independence and purpose through tiny living. Hey there. Do you feel overwhelmed by the complexity of transitioning to or living a tiny house lifestyle while building your financial future? Are the endless options, decisions, and costs causing you anxiety and making you doubt whether you can achieve your dream of living small and being financially secure? Welcome to Less House, More Moola, a podcast about how to make an alternative or tiny lifestyle boost your financial security. I am Laura Lynch, your host. I'm also a certified financial planner practitioner, and I have built this podcast and my business to help those who go tiny to build a unique financial security that the standard American dream simply does not afford. In this podcast, I will guide you through the process of planning your tiny house pivot while maximizing your financial impact. You can move through the uncertainty and toward confidence as I share my personal experiences, professional insights, and invaluable tips to help you navigate the world of tiny living and financial freedom. With the Less House, More Moola podcast by your side, you'll be well equipped to embark on your journey towards a more sustainable, fulfilling, and financially independent life. So if you're at that place where you're researching tiny living or moving in that direction and are now asking yourself, can I make this work? And will it help me financially? This is the podcast for you. Episodes will be released on Thursdays. Each will provide motivation along your journey and return to our focus on financial security. I'm a total tiny finance nerd and will share things I'm thinking about, things I'm learning, and ways that I have capitalized on my tiny transition. So I'm just like you. I'm in this transition. I'm going full-time tiny in 2024, and we are going to go on this journey together and build financial security in a really evidence-based way by cutting our ties to the traditional American dream. So today, I wanted to introduce to you what I think are the three principles of Less House, More Moola, and what it means to go from being tiny curious to tiny resolute to tiny living. So the first thing that I think we all have to do is we have to, as my partner Eric calls it, see the matrix. So we have all grown up with a lot of expectations and a vision of what our life was supposed to look like. And if you're anything like me, it may have been some education, a career, a corporate ladder, couple kids, and a mortgage, and 30 years to pay that house off, and then ultimately retire at 65 and live out your golden years. But the reality is for me, and probably for you, you're realizing that a lot of this is restrictive, kind of a trap, and maybe it's something that doesn't really resonate with you. And so as you're exploring this tiny option, I'm sure that you've started to question a lot of things about your life, what aligns with your values, where you really want to spend your time, what's most important to you. And I'm here to share with you that you are more than your productivity, and you are more than the person who's going to continue to pay that mortgage for 30 years. And you deserve to build a life that aligns with your values. I spent many years feeling trapped in a career that was unfulfilling. I've bought a few houses, sometimes not at the best time of the market. And ultimately, at 40 some years old, I looked around and said, I don't want to be paying for this roof for another 30 years and feeling trapped in a career and a business that doesn't suit me. I want to serve a particular client and I want to work in a particular way. And the lever that I could pull to make that change was the roof. So we all know that our mortgage payment being due every month or our rent being due every month can keep us stuck in a place where we don't want to be. So we have to look around and see the reality for what it is. We have to work within the system. I'm certainly not here to rail against the machine, but what I am here to do is say we have these systematic processes around us and we can choose to stay in them and work through them and do the things that we're expected to do, or we can be maybe a little bit rebellious and look outside of the structure that we've been given and the expectations that we've been given and build a life that is in better alignment with ourselves. I, for one, want to spend a lot of my time hiking with my dogs. And so in order to do that, I've got to make some changes in my life. And I'm on that path right now. I'm almost at the end of a 30-month project plan. So it does take time to get these changes made. But the first step is to see the system, see the matrix for what it is. The second step, and the one that's really important for getting towards the go do it phase, is making a plan. So I'm a planner by nature. I've been planning since I was a kid. And a plan for me enables me to see the way things need to play out over time and see the steps that I have to go in order to get to where I'm trying to go. So a plan is a critical part because it enables confidence. Without a plan where you can see your measurable steps and you know how all the pieces come together, you may not feel confident to take that first step forward. So sitting down and jotting down a list of 10 things that have to be achieved, and in the order that you have to do them may be your way of creating a plan. For other people, it might be an Excel spreadsheet or a Gantt chart. But whatever your plan process is, I think a plan is a key part of helping you get the confidence to move forward. So I do this for a living, helping people make financial plans. And now I've pivoted my business to help specifically the tiny life community to make these sorts of plans. But you can create your own plan, and we're going to talk about ways to do that throughout this podcast. But for us, in my life, it was about sitting down and figuring out how does the cash come into the different steps, because it's not as simple as selling your primary residence and then going and buying a house in a different town and hiring movers. When you go to the tiny lifestyle, oftentimes you have to get a head start on tiny before you can move out of your prior life. And then there might be things like job changes required or geography changes. There's a lot of complexity that can come into the tiny pivot. So sitting down and understanding how the money lines up is probably a place where a lot of people get stuck. There's a lot of resources out there on YouTube and in podcasts and websites on how to explore which tiny platform might be the best for you, how to build a tiny house or a van life. All of those things are out there. And I have a feeling that there's people out there that are getting stuck on how to push past understanding the financial steps. So that is what I'm here to focus on, making a plan that incorporates all the financial pieces. The third step of this, after you kind of see the matrix and you get a plan put together, is you have to just go and do it. And this is another place where I see so many people in life get stuck, not just on tiny living, but just any dream that we have. We have to take that first step forward. And I feel like taking that first step forward has a lot to do with a thing in psychology they call self-efficacy, which is the idea that you have belief that you will be able to accomplish your goals. So for me and my partner, Eric, when we started working on our tiny house, we worked on it every Saturday for a year. And it was the most self-efficacy creating process we ever went through. We started out with literally a trailer off of Craigslist and some graph paper, and I sketched out the floor plan, and we built the thing from the ground up. And now every single time I am in my tiny house, I feel so connected to that creativity and to that space that we created from nothing. And it is the best feeling in the world. But we had to take that first step. We had to go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or wherever we get our trailers from these days. And we had to reach out to somebody, put that trailer in the backyard and start ripping off the old boards and, work one day at a time to make that goal a reality. And so we have to take that first step forward. And sometimes that first step is so hard. It is so hard to get started on any project because you feel stuck. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what all the steps are necessarily. And so it is so hard to take that leap. So I'm here to do everything in my power to help you feel confident to take that first step and to encourage you to do it because it is so worth it. Because if you can, over time, align your life with what is most important to you and build the financial security that everybody in the tiny living community is creating, you will then be on the other side of a place where most Americans spend decades and decades paying off their home. And by the time they do, they're rattling around in it, somewhat isolated, living out their latter years, looking back on everything and going, did I live the life that I was born to live? Or did I live the life that someone else told me I was supposed to live? I recently learned of another fun psychology term, and that's called mimetic desire. And this is the idea that we actually don't know what we want. When we are born, we don't know what we want, but we look to others to tell us what we want in life. And then we go after those things that everybody else tells us that we're supposed to want. And whether that's a nice car or a nice home or 2.5 kids or the corporate ladder or whatever it is, we take ideas from other people and we make them our own and we go after those things. But you don't ever, in all of those years of churning through the things that you're supposed to do you sit down and say, is this really me? Is this career track really me? Is this house and all of the stuff that I've accumulated really bringing me happiness? Because we all know that what really brings us happiness is the relationships that we have in life and those special moments that we collect throughout our lives, moments with family, a time when someone told you that they were proud of you. Those are the things that are really meaningful. And those are things that we do not buy at Walmart. They're things that don't come from Amazon. They have nothing to do with having a 4-bedroom house with, perfect rooms from rooms to go. It is about creating people, experiences, and relationships where we feel connected to the beautifulness that is the ecosystem that we're in. So I'm just going to encourage you to think about how you might take a brave first step. And the best way to get confident about a big project or a big life transition like going tiny is to do something else that is scary or different and see yourself do that thing. We learn our own confidence by experience. And I've done a few things in the last few years that are the proudest and biggest things that I've ever done in my life. And they have nothing to do with getting a degree or climbing a corporate ladder. They are things that I have done personally for myself to help me align better with my deep inner self. And so I would encourage you to think about something, dig out something deep inside you that you really want to do for yourself and see yourself accomplish that. And that will help you build the confidence to go out and totally change your life. So the 3 principles that I think that everybody has to go through, the 3 stages of kind of making that transition from tiny curious to tiny resolute to tiny living is, first, you got to see the system for what it is, be a little rebellious in your want to get out of it, make a plan, understand how the steps are going to play out so you feel confident in making that first step. And then you just got to take that first step. It's going to be hard. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be scary, but you can certainly do it. There are so many of us joining this community of wanting something more and different for ourselves. So join in. Let's do this together. This is the first episode of what's going to be a really valuable resource for you. So certainly, as with all podcasts, you want to like it, you want to comment, you want to share it with other people that are thinking like you, and we're going to go on this journey together. Well, that's it for today's episode of Less House, More Moola. To access valuable financial tips and resources tailored to your tiny living journey, join our exclusive community at thetinyhouseadvisor.com. Here you'll find a supportive network of like-minded individuals committed to helping each other navigate the challenges and celebrate the victories of embracing a minimalist lifestyle. So don't miss out on the opportunity to be part of this empowering tribe. Be sure to tune in next Thursday for another insightful episode of Less House, More Moola, where we'll continue to explore practical solutions and inspiring stories to help you create the life you've always dreamed of.
Please see the show notes for important disclosure regarding the Tiny House Advisor LLC and this episode.